Hello, everyone, and welcome to that Star Trek podcast, your place for a detailed analysis and speculation of all things Trek. My name is Sean Ray, and I just experienced full molecular engorgement in a matter of seconds, and it felt amazing. And I want to try something new tonight. Instead of the boring thing where I go around the circle and introduce everybody, I'm going to introduce each one of you and ask you a trivia question. And if you get the trivia question right, congratulations. If you don't, I'll just tell you the answer. So, joining me.
How can I handle these stakes?
Joining me tonight in the historic Infinite Potato Studios, we have Scott. How are you, sir?
We'll find out after this question.
The season 1 character Badgie is voiced by Jack McBrayer, who is well known in his other roles at Fix-It Felix and Wreck-It Ralph, and Kenneth Parcell in this hit sitcom starring Alec Baldwin.
I'm glad that you said Alec Baldwin, because I don't know the guy's name, Jack McBrayer. I don't know his character name in 30 Rock.
It is 30 Rock. Also joining us tonight, we have Jen. How are you?
Live long and prosper.
Jessica McKenna pulls double duty on the Cerritos as she plays Ensign Barnes and this other character.
Oh. I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, go ahead.
It's the ship's computer.
Oh, okay.
All right. And we also have Rick.
Zinda, his eyes red.
What is the registry number of the USS Cerritos?
Oh, you bastard. Oh, it's NCC. I have no clue.
75567.
Oh, so yeah. The Enterprise is the only ship whose registry number I know. I don't do, I love my trivia, but I don't do star dates and I don't do numbers. So,
all right.
I've got the registry number for Discovery memorized, but that's only because they layered in that possibly veiled reference to Section 31 when they, in the pilot episode, when they were trying to set it up as a Section 31 ship.
Yeah, she's the 1031, but that's all right. I know 2 ships registry number.
There you go.
Well, 7 if you count all the Enterprises.
Give me just a second. I forgot to pull up the episode information. Give me just a second. Let me talk amongst yourselves.
Always prepared, Sean.
I know. I usually am. I have my notes, but I forgot
compared to me. He is always prepared. Hey, I got 2 Open the Iris episodes out today.
Woo!
Now, if I ever get that damn Pod Direction or Prime Direction episode finished, so I can record more.
I dodged a bullet over here. I had to put everyone on hold and stand up from the desk for a minute because Heather came over. She's not feeling well, but she lives 4 minutes away. So she drove over here just so she could say hi and sorry, I can't come over tonight. And then she left again.
Oh, only there was an electronic device that would have made that easier.
Well, she wanted to come and say hello. She wanted a hug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's the
but I dodged
the important part.
I dodged a bullet in that I did not go and get the mail today. Had I gotten the mail and then thought that she wasn't coming over, and then hear her punching the code into the lock on the front door, I might not have hidden one of her Christmas presents, which I know is in the mailbox right now. So, good thing I left it out there.
Oh, it's not the puppet.
No, the puppet's for me.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'm ready. Okay.
Okay.
Tonight, we are going to be talking about the latest episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, which was titled The Spy Humongous. It was written by John Cochran and directed by Bob Suarez, and the IMDb description says, Anomaly Consolidation Day on the USS Cerritos leaves the lower deckers with mixed emotions. Captain Freeman attempts to negotiate peace on the Pac-led homeworld. All right. What did we think about this episode? Rick?
I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best one, but it wasn't the worst. I think it was the most Easter egg light episode they've done so far. There were only 2 that I counted, and they were pretty obvious. This is one that falls into the very sitcom-y category, but I guess because it's on a Star Trek episode, it didn't bother me so much. I'm really not sure where they're going with the Pakleds. I kind of thought that they were going to do one thing and now they're going another. And there were a few things that bothered me in this episode, but overall it was fun. It was still enjoyable.
Yeah. I have a couple things to say about the Pakleds too, but we'll get to that in a minute. Jen, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm actually liking that the Pakleds are involved, but I mean, when we saw them originally on TNG, they were kind of a joke. Is the best way to put it. So seeing them now on the show is, I mean, I think they're doing a little bit better with them, but they're still kind of a joke. It's the sitcom that Rick mentioned. Overall, I thought it was cute, and I agree. It was all right. It wasn't their best. But I mean, we still got some more season to go. So there you go.
Yeah, I think they decided to pick the least evil, or I don't know, the least problematic bad guy, and make them the recurring bad guy for the show or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Scott, what about you?
I'm kind of middle of the road on this one. I know that oftentimes I'm a little bit less favorable to a lot of Lower Decks episodes, just because that's how I tend to be when it comes to comedy versus drama in sci-fi. This one, I watched it twice, which is unusual for me when prepping for these shows. But I had some time tonight while I was having dinner, so I decided to throw the episode on again. I gave it another watch, and I think that might have helped me to look on it a bit more favorably, being able to review it. And now that I know what's coming, I can, take it apart a little bit more in my mind. So I found some things that I liked a little bit more. And an added bonus of watching a second time is it allows me to practice one of my best known skills, which is making theories. I have theories.
Speculation.
See, this is why every time you say that you just like to go along for the ride with the show, I'm like, no, you don't.
I do. This is maybe it's rare for someone to enjoy speculating and building up theories as much as I do, yet at the same time, when the next episode starts, just going along for the ride. Because I can, speaking for myself at least, when the show does not conform to the theories that I build up in my head, I don't get mad at the show.
No,
I just roll with it. I may say at the end of the episode, if you'd done it my way, this would have been better. But I'm not mad about it.
No, but you have theories. You always have theories.
Yeah.
Well, we're on a speculation podcast, so we need theories.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing.
Yeah.
It's just the first time you said, I'm the guy that just likes to go along with the show and not think too much about it. And I'm like, no, that's me.
That's during the episode. Once the episode is over, that's when the theories start happening.
Okay.
And this is all born from the part of me that, the Scott that builds fantasies that next year when my birthday comes around, I'm going to find out that everyone has planned a surprise podcast birthday party where Alex Kurtzman comes on as a guest on the show. We have a nice conversation. And before we jump into a trivia contest with Alex Kurtzman, he says, you know what, guys, I have a special guest. And he brings on Mike McMahon, and it's Mike McMahon versus me in Star Trek trivia. And by the end of the episode, he offers me a job.
Now we have to cancel all of that.
That's
see,
that's
ruined
the Scott
it.
that comes up with all these theories. It's
Is
the
this
one that wants Mike McMahon to offer him a job.
Was this an episode of Fantasy Island that you were on? Or
Smiles, everybody.
They played.
All right. Yeah, this was kind of a middle of the road episode for me. It was good. It was enjoyable. I didn't laugh out loud until the very end. But I did like that they kind of mixed up the grouping. You know, they had Boimler kind of off by himself doing something with other people, and then they had Mariner along with Rutherford and Tendi. But
Zinti finally got to talk.
Who?
The Kazin finally got to talk.
Yes, yeah, that's true. But I just didn't think it was all that funny. I thought it had a few jokes that made me chuckle. That one scene at the end probably made the entire episode for me, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I did think it was funny that the command track cadets all called themselves red shirts.
Yeah, I actually did chuckle at that.
Because I seem to remember Mariner making a red shirt joke in season 1. So you would think the red shirt means something, but
well, that's why Boimler went, really? You're calling yourselves that?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, why? No, never mind.
No, yeah.
So here's my problem with the Packlets. I just want to get this out of the way right away. When we saw them on TNG, it was a joke. It was a, let's be funny.
Yeah.
Then they brought them back for Lower Decks. And then in this one, we're starting to get more into the Packlet culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am starting to get a bad taste in my mouth about them as an allegory for any variety of birth defects that involve cognition.
You're saying that are you saying that they're making fun of people who are slow?
I don't think they're meaning to, but it's coming off as that. And I was halfway through the episode, I was like, all right. I even said to my wife, "Oh, I'll bet they're doing this with it," because I never do this. So if it's something real that obvious for me to go, I'll bet they're doing this. I thought they were going to go with it's all an act, and that the Packlets are actually a lot smarter than they let on. But then it turned out, no, they're just a planet full of idiots. And it's getting to the point of almost in bad taste to me. And,
okay.
Yeah. And so it was funny for a while. Now I think it's tiptoeing right up to the edge of too far.
Well,
I mean,
honestly,
I still laughed when Rumdar flowed past the window.
Well, yeah.
But the it's just, I think they need to really pull back on the whole Packlet thing.
Well, I mean, I was already tired of that whole shtick in TNG because they kind of went there, and this was, when were they on? Which season were they on? I can't remember.
Season 2.
Season 2. Okay.
That was the second season? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it was much later.
Geordie and Yellow, Riker with a beard, second season.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He makes things go.
Yeah. And we all make the "you are smart, we are strong" jokes. We have been for 2 decades now. But
this is Reginald.
But it felt like poor taste back then, to me anyway. But again, that was, season 2 was 88.
Yeah, that was the late 80s, and this is 2021, and it's a completely different mindset.
It still makes me shiver a little bit when LaForge walks onto the bridge and says, "Let me guess, the rubber band broke, right?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that the joke, I was going to basically say the same thing. So, I mean, I'll just add to it. I think that they're trying to just make them look as stupid as possible, but yeah, they're getting to the point where they're making them look mentally challenged. And mentally challenged does not mean stupid,
No.
And so when you have somebody acting mentally challenged and then you start making fun of him like he just took a picture of his own shoes and stuff like that, it does get a little bit cringy. Now if they'd have made the Packlets on the planet kind of less smart than they are, but had what was the guy's name that they had on the ship, the spy?
Rumdar.
If they'd have made him a complete idiot or whatever, it would have been funnier. And just like he's dumber than the rest of them, but he's the one that they picked as their spy, But they were all like, they kept saying, my hat's not big enough for that, and then take you to somebody else whose hat is still not big enough for that.
They're punching down, and that's what disappoints me.
Yeah.
The downside of it is they are, and I'm sure that to a degree it seems the appropriate move considering the medium, but they're making the Pac-Leds cartoonishly dumb, which if you push it too far and if you portray it the wrong way, and a lot of this has to do with the writing, a lot of it has to do with the vocal performance of the actors playing the Pac-Leds. You got to be careful, or else it's going to become parody and possibly offensive. It's a high wire act, to be sure. I have a suspicion though that, close to what Rick said, but rather than finding out that they've been putting on an act this whole time and they're not in fact stupid, but they're secretly smart, I think I get the feeling that by the end of the season, they're going to continue becoming more of an antagonist, more of a threat. They just dropped a secret plan to try to smuggle a weapon of mass destruction to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're going to follow that plot line, and in the climax of the season, when things get really hairy, it's going to turn out that the I guess let's call them the mental deficiencies or the intellectual deficiencies of the Pac-Leds are going to somehow give them an advantage that the Federation will not be expecting. Starfleet is going to get caught flat-footed, and it's going to be a close call because they say, wow, they almost did this or that. How did that happen? Because we didn't think they'd be that stupid, or some variation of that.
Or they wouldn't be as dangerous as people thought. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. They will somehow prove to be more of a threat than anyone gave them credit for, because everyone just assumed that they were all idiots.
Well, yeah, we also, it kind of messes with your canon a little bit when you make your people so stupid that they can't figure out how to work a camera, and they can't figure out how to work the airlock. They don't know the difference between a bathroom and an airlock, but they know how to work spaceships. How are they able to go into space? That's always been the problem
with the Pac-Leds. They're portrayed as too stupid to be where they are.
Yeah. I get that all their technology is stolen, but you still have to know how to work that technology to use it, you know?
True.
So, hopefully you're right, Scott. And by the end of the season, they'll have done something with it. But right now, I think that they've really, they're going too far with them. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I won't say it wasn't funny. My helmet isn't big enough for that. Well, my helmet is and I've got the biggest helmet, and get to airlock 14. The Pac-Led did something unspeakable in there. Was one of the funniest lines in any episode ever. Because I'm 12.
The helmeted Pac-Leds will no longer rule us. Ooh, I am now leader of Pac-Led people.
Yeah. Star Trek is better than this. So hopefully they're leading up to something that's better than what this episode showed.
As I'm watching, I'm doing a rewatch of Rick and Morty season 3 because I haven't seen 4 and 5 yet, and I'm gonna jump into those. But I wanted to go back and rewatch one season, play catch up, because Rick and Morty does so much, it's hard to keep things straight and remember what happened. And that kind of plays into the point, which is Mike McMahon, coming from Rick and Morty, tells me that a few of the methods that that Rick and Morty as a show would use is carefully, quietly laying seeds throughout a season. So when you get to the end of the season, something happens and you'll realize, oh, they've been pointing towards this all season long. We didn't necessarily see it because it was small aspects of various different stories. I think that he's going to be bringing something similar to Lower Decks, more so this season than last season. I think the Pac-Leds are going to shape up to be a more serious concern for Starfleet. I think that I suspect that Captain Freeman's growing quest for acknowledgement and accolades for herself, her ship, and her crew. I think that's going to start getting her into trouble. I think that Will Boimler is going to come back. I think they're going to be taking a lot of the threads and elements that we've seen so far. I think they're going to come back and play a role to one degree or another by the end of the season. Similar to What If. I think What If is going to be doing a lot of that too.
Mhm.
So the anomalies, were any of those anomalies Easter eggs that I missed? They were just
No.
all new things.
They were all just new stuff.
New stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I figured
I thought
if there was-
maybe that sword might be something, but if it is, I don't remember because it
That
got a
one
lot
didn't
of
look
screen
familiar
time.
to me. Doctor, who's the bird doctor? Dr.
I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Mugly-
Oh, is that that's
Mugly
whose quarter was with the storybook?
Yeah. It's like Miggly Moo or
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
somethingly Moo. If you look real close, it's not easy to pick out, but if you know to look for it, you'll see right about in the center of his big pile of junk when the door first opens, he's got a comm officer earpiece from TOS.
Really?
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Wow.
I missed that.
There's a small Uhura's earpiece laying in the middle there.
Oh, cool.
So they're cleaning out anomalies, which are like these specimens that they've encountered over time, and it's time to clean them out, I guess. And Rutherford blows up like the little kid in the Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory, and Tendi gets turned into a scorpion thing. And
Can I just say,
go ahead.
And maybe this is just me, but even as a giant mutated scorpion monster, she was still adorable and looked a lot like a My Little Pony.
Really? Okay.
Something about the face. I was just like, even as a monster, she's cute.
One thing that that bothered me a little bit was that the cadets on the command track, they're looking down
Not
on
cadets,
people.
they're ensigns.
Well, okay. They're looking down on people that have the same rank as them, saying we are Starfleet and they work for Starfleet, that kind of thing. And I get that they did that so that their leader can kind of get his comeuppance at the end and everything. But that whole thing didn't sit right to me. That seems so anti-Star Trek to me, for the command track people to be looking down on their fellow officers and stuff like that, as if there's a class system.
Right. I don't think it's saying that command track ensigns are looking down on people. I think it's saying that those particular ensigns were looking down on others.
Yeah.
I think that prior to
it was more character specific.
Yeah, prior to DS9, I would have agreed with you, but Deep Space Nine took Star Trek out of allegory and made it real, and has been ever since. And so, ever since Deep Space Nine stopped Star Trek from being an idealized version of what people could be, we've had to deal with real human foibles in Star Trek, and I think this is just that. They're on the worst ship in the fleet with delusions of grandeur, and just the fact that they look up to Boimler is proven.
Okay, good
because
point.
he was on the Titan. Yeah, he was on the Titan for a couple of weeks. I did like the line where they said that Riker cleans his trombone so much it's disruptive.
Well, I like when he said, "I've got to blow some brass." Like that.
Yeah.
So the episode of the title, the title of the episode, the title of the episode is a reference to an online game called Among Us that my daughter plays.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? See, I went immediately to the Road Warrior. Lord Humongous, just walk away. Leave the tanks, leave the gas, and just walk away.
Oh, the guy with the hockey mask on his face. Yeah.
Well, but the whole thing was that they had a spy on board and all that kind of stuff, and that's what this game is about. You have one player that is sus, and you're trying to figure out which one is sus. You know, my daughter plays
That's
that
where
game.
sus came from. I hear
Yeah.
that so much and I don't know where. Okay.
Yeah,
See,
that's
I,
where
I'm
sus
old.
comes
knew
from.
that, but I've never played the game, so
I've never
didn't,
played it, but I've seen my daughter playing it. She's addicted to it.
I had no idea that sus came from. I just thought
I
it was
didn't
like
either.
It's short for suspect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I figured that much out. I just assumed that it was a slang shortening of the word, not that
Yeah.
it came from a particular thing. It just happened.
But
hey,
also,
we're on top of all the trends. You know, last week, you know, Scott said yeet.
Oh, yeah.
well, also you got to. That just shows how long it takes to make these shows. Back when this show was written, that game was the shit. Nobody's talking about it anymore, except like my 10-year-old daughter mentioned it once.
I saw a picture of a bunch of people at Dragon Con dressed as the little aliens.
Yeah, they
from
were.
it.
It
Yeah.
was weird. Oh, God. The cosplay this year. Let me just tell you, so many Lokis.
Alligator Loki was all over the place. I saw that on the video.
Oh yeah, there was
Yeah.
there was a few alligator Lokis. Oh yeah, I mean there was so many Lokis. Even some of the actual guests dressed as a Loki. It was
The one that I saw that I thought was great was it was a guy and he was dressed as Gandalf, but his beard, it was white, but it was cut in the style of Macho Man Randy Savage. And instead of a staff, he had a giant Slim Jim.
I saw him
in the wrapper.
I did see him. I
And
saw
on
it. Yeah.
And on his back, it had like the wrestlers have their names on the back, and it
Yep.
said Macho Mandolf
Yeah.
on the back of
I did. I saw him. I did.
Step into a bell rug.
You should not pass.
All right, so there was a Kazinti character that we've seen him before. We saw him in that episode Mugatu Gamato.
He's
Yeah.
been in the mess hall a few times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he actually spoke in this episode, and they were introduced in the in the animated series back, and they slumped over when they walked, and in this episode they referenced that he has bad posture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know where the Kazinti come from?
I do.
The animated series.
Well, the
No,
animated
before that.
series, but there was actually the guy who wrote the episode had a novel that the characters were in, and he was allowed to use them in the Star Trek universe because he wrote the episode, and so
Larry
they
Niven.
become Larry Niven.
Well, you got to be careful when you do that, because when you do that, now those characters belong to Star Trek.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Then you
But
get
he
into
originally
you get
wrote
into a
in-
whole
in
Dalek
another
situation.
in his novels. So
The TAS episode was the slaver weapon, which
Yep.
Yeah.
is out of his. Oh, I don't remember the name of the series. I haven't read it, but he wrote the episode and he put his characters, and the slaver weapon is from his universe as well in there.
mhm.
And so, that established the Kazinti as a Star Trek race, and they were never used again until now.
Yeah.
But
And I suspect he's probably not writing any more of those novels, so they can.
he's still alive, right? Is he still writing?
He is still alive. He
computer's
was born
on
in
its last legs.
1938.
Oh wow. So he's like a million years old. Larry Niven is one of the science fiction greats, and the fact that he essentially donated his characters to Star Trek,
Mhm.
because I'm sure he got paid to write the episode, but I don't imagine he's still getting royalties on the Kazinti, although he may very well be. I don't know.
Then
Um,
actually, a little bit of trivia. Did you know there's actually a magic card named after him?
A what?
A magic card. You know the magic card, the Magic the Gathering card game.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
There's a card named after him, but his name's spelled backwards.
It's
It's a Nivelieral's disc is what it's called. It's from the original set. It's an artifact. We're like, wait, is that Larry Niven spelled backwards? Yeah, it is.
But I highly recommend any of his books. He's really, really good author.
We do have to mention the scene at the end with Armus. So
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
they have a device that in the anomalies that, for reasons, it lets you talk to somebody on any planet, and because why not, and so they use it to prank call Armus. and just
Skin
make fun of him.
him.
Get him all worked up, and he's young. I am Armis. I am the skin of evil. I will kill you by waving my hand. You know, and it was funny. I mean, it was pretty funny.
I actually did laugh at. I will agree. I laughed at that. I was like, wait, is that? No, can't. Okay.
Well, as soon as she said, "Let's prank call Armis," I was like, "All right."
Well, I'd forgotten his name. I just remembered him as that pink, the oil slick.
He was named the thing was named after one of the producers. On TNG.
I know.
The guy's name is Armis.
Mhm.
Burton Armis.
It would have been funny if that shuttlecraft had still been crashed behind him.
That was a missed opportunity. They should have put it
Mm.
there. But regardless, the whole thing made me sad.
Why?
I've always, ever since I was 9 years old. No, wait, 8 years old. Sorry. I've always felt that the character of Armis was an unexplored, missed opportunity antagonist with a lot of potential for return appearances. There's so much that could have been done with that character after Skin of Evil, and we never ever heard from him again. And the first time that we hear anything about the character since 1988 is in a joke final scene before the credits, which makes it very, very clear that nothing serious is ever going to happen with that character.
All right. Well,
Some people might also call this an Easter egg. This is a dialogue Easter egg, in that they're reviving a bit of the Temerian language. As Rumdar goes floating past the window, when Kayshawn sees him throughout the window, all you hear is Shaka.
Yeah, I was glad to see Kayshawn actually say something in this episode. He hasn't spoken since the episode where he was introduced.
I was starting to worry that maybe this was a bad purchase.
I did get a kick out of
It's getting
and
redeemed.
this is probably because of my occupation, but the whole time the red shirts, whenever they were on screen, they were very, very strongly backlit.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. Okay.
And it was enough that I was like, boy, they're really leaning into this a lot.
Mhm. And some people would call that an Easter egg as well, Rick, with Boimler being severely backlit, and then the Galaxy class bridge
Yeah, that was cool.
appears around him.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that was that was an Easter egg too. You're right.
I don't know if I could call that an Easter egg. That wasn't exactly hidden. It was just
Well, it was still, I mean, it was they didn't call attention to it. So if you didn't know it was a Galaxy class bridge, you wouldn't know it was
Mhm.
probably wouldn't catch it.
That, and also we have finally reached the age or the era where if it's a reference to something recognizable, then it's an Easter egg, and it goes on your list in your YouTube video of 56 Easter eggs that you missed in this episode. No, maybe
I've been avoiding
3 of
those like
Yeah, me too.
the plague
Well,
lately because they're almost always stupid.
if you've been on an Easter egg hunt lately, they don't hide the eggs anymore. They just leave them laying out. And kids just walk up and pick them up.
And speaking of Boimler, with that speech that he gave, something else that I noticed that might end up evolving as the season continues. When I don't know if they named all the red shirts that he was working with, but the human female, the brunette,
Yeah, I don't think she got a name.
as she is describing to Boimler, what captains are. They're leaders, they're warriors, they're lovers. She gives Boimler a bit of a look when she says that, and Boimler visibly reacts to that.
Yeah.
Then at the end of the episode, she essentially asks Boimler on a date. I am really curious if we're going to see her showing up again with Boimler as the season moves on.
I didn't catch that.
Well, if they give her a name, yeah.
Yeah, again, it's these little threads that they plant that could grow into something else.
I think her
And-
name was Jennifer.
No,
No,
that's
that
the
was the
Andorian.
Andorian.
Oh, okay. Well,
Jennifer's
was it Castro?
Andorian. We've seen We've seen her a couple times.
There's another one named
Casey was the
Castro.
dude with the 5 o'clock shadow,
Yeah.
but the human woman and the Kazinti, as far as they did not get named.
They had a Jennifer, they had a Castro, and that's the only ones I'm looking at IMDb. I do see that the Queen Packlet was voiced by Brian Posehn. I didn't realize that.
Who's that?
He's a comedian. He's one of those comedians that if you saw his face, you'd know exactly who it was.
Like, oh, that guy.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
like Casey sounded familiar to me, and I looked him up, and he's one of those, that guy. I couldn't tell you offhand what it was, but I saw. I was like, oh, okay, that's why
I recognized his voice right off. But Brian Posehn, I saw him in the credits. I couldn't recognize where his voice was in the show. Rick, think The Mandalorian. I can't remember what season it was, but he's on like an ice planet, and he needs someone to give him a ride on a speeder to get like to or from the ship. And Brian Posehn was the driver of the. Okay, here it comes.
Ah, okay. Oh,
That's
yeah,
Brian
yeah,
Posehn.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, all right, that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
He's kind of like this era's oh shit, no, I can't remember his name. He was in Ice Pirates as the head.
No, that's a different
No,
actor.
I know it's a different guy, but that dude was like, he was behind the scenes on a lot of stuff in the 80s.
Yeah, he's this generation's
Bruce
that guy
Valanche.
from Ice
That's what I'm
Pirates.
thinking of. Bruce Valanche in this.
My
guy's kinda
favorite Brian Posehn character. He was on Big Bang Theory a lot, but he used to play on Just Shoot Me, and and the guy, what's the guy that just recently passed that played on the Goldbergs, the old guy, you know what I'm talking about?
Ed Asner?
No.
No, he wasn't on the Goldbergs. No.
You're talking sitcoms. So
he used to play on Just Shoot Me, and he was like the guy in charge of the magazine, and he was in the elevator with Brian Posehn's character, and he said something about, I think I have a fever. And Brian Posehn's standing there, he's got his arms full of something. He just leans over and kisses him on his forehead and says, "Yeah, you might." And he just as the elevator doors are closing, he says, "Salty."
Oh, God. Oh,
Okay.
man.
We have reached the end of our discussion. Do you want to hear more? Well, head over to patreon.com/infinite potato to learn how you can become a supporter of our show and help us with things like recording services and equipment. We offer you early access to episodes and special monthly movie commentaries. This month, we're going to be watching The Room, and that will be hitting the site at the end of the month. So we have various tiers of support. If you join our mid or our top tier, you'll be thanked on the show and credited as a producer. And I'd like to take a minute and thank our producers of this episode: Dale Goodall, Bulent Bingal, Jeff Hughes, Tom Corcoran, and Brandon Ushio. So I want to.
Everybody had to have an all at the end of their name just to keep the rhyme scheme going.
All right. I want to thank everybody for being here. Scott, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
People can often find me on this show, as well as Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast, and occasionally on Captain Game Show. All of those right here on the Infinite Potato Alliance podcast network. And coming soon, I will be putting together and releasing season 1 of I'd Watch That for $1, my upcoming podcast, where I sit down with fun guests and we review movies that I purchased at my local dollar store on DVD and Blu-ray. Production is underway. I want to have most, if not all, the first season in the can before I start releasing. Otherwise, you get one episode and then you wait 3 months for another one. And that's no good for anybody. And if you don't want to wait for me to come out with a new podcast and you want to see some of my stuff, then go ahead and visit my website, www.planetrisecreative.com. You can see a bunch of my graphic artwork, like posters and wallpapers and social media avatars and book covers and etc. If the website is too much work, then just go ahead and hit up Twitter at Planet Rise.
That reminds me, Scott, Rick and Jen, you guys are more than welcome to join in on this, but we're going to start a series for the show where Scott and I are going to read the Next Generation post Nemesis novels and talk about them. And Sorry, I thought I heard somebody talking. And Scott, I was going to let you know that I have contacted Dayton Ward, and he is okay to be on the show.
Nice.
All right. Jen, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me as always.
You have anything you want to plug?
Well, I'm on this show. I'm on Cosmic Potato. I am on Starbase 66. Occasionally on Captain Game Show. Starbase 66, we're getting ready to do another interview coming up soon. I'm not going to tell you who because that'll spoil. But we'll eventually do some more episodes with that. Right, Rick?
Sure, why not?
So there you go.
I don't even know who the hell she's talking about. So. Actually,
right.
I do, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's Peter David.
No, it's not Peter David. I will say
somebody that y'all know, but I don't. So.
It's Steve Gutenberg.
No.
All right, Rick. Thank you for being here. Let everybody know where they can find you.
No.
Okay.
I don't want to be found. I'm all over the network, folks. You know where to find me. So if you don't know where to find me, I envy you that.
All right. If you want to get in touch with us and give us your thoughts on this episode, then head over to infinitepotato.com and click on the icon for that Star Trek podcast, and you'll find links to our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and our email. We'll be back next week to talk about the next episode of Lower Decks, which is as yet untitled. Until then, Rick, go clean out the airlock. Scott did something unspeakable in there.
Don't get digested.
I do what I want.